You're listening to the Ordinary Joe's podcast with Joe D and Eric B. Ordinary Joe's podcast.
All right, we are back with another TV review, show review. This time we're going to go to the opposite movie that Pedro Pascal is doing. It's what kind of made him famous, dealing with another orphan child. In this one, we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian. Dun, dun, dun. I was waiting for that, man. Come on. I always wait for Joe to... Dun, dun, dun. We've done this long enough to where I just wait for him to give me the little,
my sound effects. I don't have a board, so I'm like the guy from Police Academy.
I got a lot of sound effects, and man, you're going to get annoyed with the sound effects that I have, but I'm gonna tease them with you when we go through it. I might even do the whole.
I'm IG88.
Oh.
Can you hear that? Ooh, that sounds really loud.
Yeah,
you sound like an android.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I was trying to be. Or I can sound like Grogu. Yeah. Hello. I don't know how Grogu sounds like.
I've never heard Grogu sound like that. I don't know. Did you skip ahead? I don't know.
Grogu sounds Asian there for a minute. I knew it. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get this started, man. I am Eric B.
And I'm Joseph D. And we are the Ordinary Joes. Just going to change it every time.
I like that one. Kind of like that one. It's a little bit different than Joe.
A little more official. That's what my mom would probably say.
Joseph? No, she doesn't do it with the accent. She does it with the Puerto Rican accent, right?
Yes, my mom's not Filipino.
Yes. I get confused, man. I get confused with Joe sometimes.
Yeah. You know, it's funny though. It's like all my Filipino friends and coworkers all call me Joseph because of Joe Coy.
Yeah, that's never gonna.
It's stuck.
That's always gonna be there for you, man. Joseph.
Yeah, I'm used to it now.
Joseph. All right, man. We're talking about The Mandalorian. First episode just came out. Mm-hmm. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, Mandalorian season 3, episode 1. You know, it's funny. I never thought I'd be like, one of those people who are used to the microwave fast era, everything quick, because, like when we were kids, our favorite show would end, the season would end, and you had to wait till next year, right, to watch it. And you might watch the reruns and stuff. When you said the season 1 came out, we should do a podcast, I was like, yeah, sure, I gotta catch up. I forgot that I caught up. It's been that long since the last Mandalorian that I actually forgot that I caught up. So I had to go back and watch it. But yeah, man, Pedro Pascal, boy's killing it right now.
Yeah.
The episode starts off pretty cool. You we're in the I believe the armory.
Yeah.
And you see kind of like the blacksmith making a helmet, a Mandalorian helmet. And we kind of in the scene where this kid is giving his, he's giving his rights or whatever. He's becoming one of the, what is it, the watch or something like that?
He's
special.
Yeah, he's going to be wearing the helmet. Yeah. Not taking it off.
All right. So initially I thought this was maybe like a what do you call that? Flashback.
Yeah. That's what
I thought, maybe this is, Jin getting his thing. And right in the middle of the ceremony, this huge freaking prehistoric alligator looking thing comes out of the water and starts attacking everybody. And what I liked about this episode, it just didn't waste time. It just went right into it. You're just like, maybe 30 seconds into it, and it's just action. And you see all the Mandalorians breaking action, and they start flying with these jetpacks and taking out this whatever the hell it is, monster thing.
Yeah.
And then of course, out of nowhere comes this jet, I guess, if you want to call it. And
you hear that? That's what I love about it. They play the little Mandalorian sound. Yeah.
So exactly. So it's kind of like that old cartoon vibe where it's like, it's just, it's letting you know the superheroes here. And sure enough, he pulls up Mandalorian, takes out the big ass monster, and it's the first time we see him and Grogu, everybody's favorite, pop up.
Yeah.
And like I said, they didn't waste time to get right into it, and I love the way this one started because it's kind of like we've waited long enough. I don't want to wait. I don't want a dragging episode.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. I love the way it started. I love the beginning. I love the whole, it's giving us the armory set. They're in a new location because remember in was it in Boba Fett? She was like in a city, like hidden, and Din Djarin had to go find where she was, and that's when she told him you have to pure yourself in the waters of Mandalore because you took your helmet off. So that there's someplace different. That beginning scene, man. I mean, just the whole. This is why I cannot be a Mandalorian, because if I would have saw that dragon come out of nowhere, I would have been running back into that cave, waiting, or I would have been one of those guys that's like, oh shit, I got a cramp, I gotta wait,
Yeah.
Because there's those guys just and the guy who's playing the guy with the machine gun, I forget his name, and he's supposed to be John Favreau, sorry, that's his character. And that guy's just badass. I mean, takes out his that machine gun thing and just like stand behind me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. He was pretty badass. And what I like too, what I found interesting when you kind of watch the scene with all these Mandalorian, you see so many different types. Like I was looking in the back and I'm seeing like different colors, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, like who are these guys? And I wasn't one. I never really read, I've never read any of the Star Wars books or stories, so I don't know if it's ever explained what the different colors are. But if they ever did a Mandalorian season, I feel like a series or book series, or if there is one, I think it'd probably be pretty good, because I'm like, man, I can't imagine like what the different styles and it's endless what they can do.
Well, see, this is where you and we just by you saying that, I brought that up to a coworker, and of course, there's always somebody nerdier than you. You think you're the nerdiest, but there's someone nerdier than you. And he brought up, oh, you have to watch Clone Wars and you have to watch Rebels, because they actually explain the different colors of the Mandalorians. Like the guy with the blue, he's supposed to be part of the Watch or something like that. So there's different things, and then I guess there's different levels of depending on your armor.
Right.
That's the level you're in. I don't know why Din Djarin chose like solid silver or whatever that is,
or chrome or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's a sign of like being pure. I don't know, but yeah. That's what he was telling me, and I'm like, man, I don't want to go back and watch all these cartoons.
Yeah, that's going down a rabbit hole right there.
You know how I am when it comes to like cartoons or animation. I'm like, I gotta watch that again. Jesus Christ. But man, I'll tell you right now, man, and I told you in the beginning, I told Joe right before we went live, is I got something that'll shock him about The Mandalorian, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not 100% sold in this season.
Really?
Man, when Carl Weathers, when Din Djarin goes into Carl Weathers' little town, and Carl Weathers is trying to sell him on being there, staying there. Like, I got a good spot for you. You could be the sheriff of the town. Carl Weathers says, you did it. You're done. What else do you got to do? Kind of looked at him like, dude, what more do you want? You finished your mission.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel. I kind of feel like, all right, you got Grogu. He's back with you. Now you're so into this religion that you want to pure yourself. I mean, I'm just like, dude, what else can you do? I mean, dude, trust me, I'm going to watch it because of the action and all that stuff. But what more can you do? What more can you show us?
I mean, what you're saying is probably what's been like my problem with a lot of Star Wars anyway, is that it's always been great special effects and cool characters, but the story is always kind of really minimal and bare. Like the writing that goes into it is like, George Lucas isn't known for his writing, or wasn't. And I'm surprised though with Jon Favreau being, at the helm, because he has such a good track record. But yeah, no, I agree with you. And sometimes the stories are hard to follow. Like, we're joined with him, like you said, heading to Mandalore to bathe in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. Sorry, no, that's Purple Rain. But
yeah, I like it.
You know what I mean? And
and
instead of heading there, what's he do? He makes a pit stop at Navarro to go see, his boy, what's his name? Creed Dash
Creed.
or something like it. Is it? No, it's something like that.
His
Not
name is
Apollo Creed, but
Apollo.
it's
His
like
name
Creed
is Grief.
Karga or
Grief
something like
Karga.
Grief. There we go.
Grief Karga. Yeah.
Grief. So right away, I was like, wait a minute, where are we now? What are we doing right now? So it kind of throws you off the storyline sometimes, and it can get a little boring. And yeah, it's kind of like, well, now he's doing this just whatever. Maybe he's obsessed. Maybe he's brainwashed in this Mandalorian religion or cult or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like now you're just having him do stuff just so he can do stuff, right? And that's kind of where that's always been my issue with Star Wars anyway, but this one it's been a little, more interesting than the past stuff they've put out.
I mean, I like it. I like the whole thing. And then, them going to his home planet of Mandalore and trying to gain the control for Mandalore. And even like when he goes at the end scene where he goes and he's asking Bo-Katan, like, where's your people? And they're like, well, they don't want to follow me because I didn't come back with a Darksaber. So you kind of like can read into like what's going to happen. And these are the things where in the beginning, like the first episode, or the first season, we didn't know. We were like, we're not sure what's going on. Right. Yeah. Second season, it's kind of the same thing. We didn't know what was going on. Third season, you can kind of already see what's going on. Right. I mean, like, again, you're going to tie in with the Rebels and that other animation cartoon that they have. You're going to tie all those in together. So you kind of can see what's going on. The only difference between the Rebels and Mandalorian is we don't know where Mandalorian fits in this whole thing. Right.
Because now, like you said, he's going back to Mandalore to do what he has to do, but now it looks like he's tied up in his friend's beef now.
Yeah.
Right. Because while he's there, they had these pirates come and starting a problem, wanting to go into a school that used to be a bar, and they're giving him shit, and they end up killing these guys. And now when he leaves, he's got beef with this pirate guy now. Yeah. So I kind of feel like it's going to be a lot of that, like just these random kind of battles and skirmishes on his way to Mandalore. And hopefully when he gets to Mandalore, there's a reason, or this ties in somehow as making it worthwhile. Because like, what's the deal with Grogu now? Like, is he free chilling? I mean, does he have a purpose anymore? Or like,
I mean, I guess when he was that cockpit scene when he was trying to teach him, like, oh, you have to know how to navigate the stars. I guess he's probably trying to teach him the ways of the Mandalore, Okay. So, I mean, I really would hate to see Grogu's face covered up in a helmet with the ears sticking out.
Yeah.
But if you're teaching the ways of the Mandalore and Din Djarin is so into the Mandalorian, religion, he's going to one day tell Grogu, you got to put a helmet on.
Yeah.
And then when that day comes, every Jedi fan is going to be like, dude, he's a Jedi. He's not a Mandalorian, but,
maybe that'll make for some sort of beef between the Mandalorians and the Jedis.
Yeah. I mean,
they're like, hey, he's one of us, not one of you.
Not one of you. Yeah. But this whole thing is all supposed to tie in with the Ahsoka Tano coming out. That's coming out on Disney Plus.
What is that?
Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
So Ahsoka's another Jedi. You remember in season 2 of The Mandalorian when he goes and says, I have to find a Jedi to give Grogu to the Jedi. Then he meets Ahsoka Tano with the big long ears.
Okay.
She's the one with the pure white lightsaber. Like she has no allegiance. She's pretty much a Ronin in the Jedi's eyes. You're not a Jedi. So what are you? So this is all supposed to lead into that. And that one I can't wait. I can't wait because, I like the Mandalorian, but it's always nice to see a Jedi in in anything. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, this first episode got me, but then when I started looking at the leaks and what the season is going to be about, I'm like, oh man, it's kind of like season 2 all over again. But this time, remember season 2, he was trying to find Luke, right?
Right.
Now he's trying to find purity in the Mandalore. I mean, it's the same exact storyline. And that's why I said, oh man, I can see this being boring.
Yep. And it starts to drag like the usual kind of
the
Star Wars stuff. Hopefully though, Pedro can carry the show a little bit, because I mean it's weird. I was noticing it actually watching the first episode was like something that throws me off, and I didn't realize is when you see the like when Din is talking to the armor, and when you have a lot of Mandalorian in one scene, you don't see facial expression.
Yeah.
And they're all very stoic, and they're not, animated in their movements and things. So that adds to the kind of like slowness of it and the boringness of it. And then it'll cut from that to action scene. So for me, sometimes, like I said, it gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
Kind of like, wait, what's going on here? I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of glad the episodes are short because I watched it maybe about 3 times just to like get a better understanding of like what's going on. Because the first time around, I was just like, wait, I'm lost. I gotta go back.
Yeah.
But I had a question for you. You've kind of gotten the acting bug, and you're getting into acting and stuff, right? That scene with the pirates outside of the school, right? One of my favorite things in movies, in sci-fi movies, is special effects makeup.
Yeah.
And the makeup in the Mandalorian is awesome.
Yeah.
And the main, well, not the main pirate guy, but out of the first group, we see the main guy, Vane, right? He has this kind of cool makeup on, but if you notice, he doesn't have a nose, right? It's just completely covered. You see his mouth. Looks really cool. Do you think you would be able, like if you got that role, would you be able to sit there for 4 hours getting all these prosthetics put on your face and then go act for like another 10? I'm assuming.
Would I be able to? I'd want to. Yeah. I'd want to. I have this problem with my tear ducts, and you guys can see if you ever watch it on YouTube, I'm always wiping my eyes because my tears are always falling, or tearing up. And when I did a scene in LA this year, in the beginning of the year, they put makeup on my face, and the makeup was all around your eyes, just so the camera lights doesn't shine on your face. And before my scene even came up, the poor makeup artist was hitting me like 30 or 40 times because I'm sitting here waiting for my scene, and I'm going, I'm doing this because my eyes are tearing. And I notice it tears up when I get nervous or when it's really cold. And that day we were shooting in a garage. I was nervous. The door was open and it was really cold. So, now you're going to put all these prosthetics on me. You're going to put on these makeups on me. It's going to be hard for me. I can see myself playing like a regular character, maybe like, like a Apollo Creed's character. I can see myself doing that. But if you have to put prosthetics on me and then put a little makeup on me, I'll do it. But it's going to be tough, and I'm going to piss off every makeup artist in the world that's going to be like, dude, you can't touch your face. I'm like, I can't help it.
I don't know. The thought of it makes me claustrophobic. Like, I feel like certain things I could do, maybe partial prosthetics, but like a full, like cowl that they put over your head, and then, stuff sometimes covers their nose, and just, I would just freak out. I wouldn't be able to do it.
I mean, the good part about these characters is you only see them from neck up. So they're probably, and they can wear gloves if they're going to show their hands. The ones that are showing like full body, like in Stranger Things with Vecna. Vecna was a full body suit, and to have that on for how many hours, it's like, oh, dude, I cannot. I get claustrophobic easily. I wear the mask. We still wear the mask at work, and after a while, I'm just like, dude, I got to pull it down. Because you can't breathe anymore. It's been like 3 years already. We're still doing it, but me having to sit there and wear all this makeup and all this prosthetic, it's going to be difficult for me to do it. And it's a good way for you to get blacklisted in Hollywood. It's like, no, we don't want this kid because this kid's always scratching his face. Luckily for me, when I shot my scene, it was a low budget film. They were like, do it. But I know the makeup artist is like, dude, come on, you gotta stop. She was really nice. She was a really nice artist. But like, I've noticed, I would do this. I would sit in the corner. I would do this, and then like she'd walk up to me 10 minutes later, patting my face, making sure and I'm like, sorry. She goes, it's okay. It happens. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
He's like, why is this guy crying? He hasn't even started his scene yet.
We haven't fired him yet. Why is he crying? He's crying already. But yeah, to answer your question, no, for me, myself, it'll be difficult. And I give props to these guys who sits here. You know, you hear the stories like 4 hours in a makeup chair. Some people even do 8 hours in a makeup chair.
Yeah.
Just to shoot like a 3-line scene.
Yeah.
You know,
I was really curious because, like I said, the character vein, if you watch it, there doesn't seem to be any holes for nostrils. So I'm like, is he breathing out of his mouth the whole time, or are they holes and they just maybe covered it up with a little CGI or something? Like, I don't know, but yeah, shout out to those people, man.
But these makeup artists, man, the way they work, their craft and how they can make us believe a character is a character, man. Yeah, you're right. Shout out to them, because a lot of their stuff is like I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm in awe with the work they do, and being on this side now, watching these guys do the work, I'm in awe with them. I'm like, wow, you know, big props.
Same, yeah. Shout out to them.
Shout out to them, yeah. Yeah, but I like this episode. I like where it's going. And you and I talked about The Last of Us not that long ago. So I'm kind of like, this is kind of like the same scenario. It's just now we're in outer space. We're watching him do the same. It's almost similar. The same guy, the same character. There's a meme going around in that episode of The Last of Us where he's riding his horse and Ellie's behind him, holding, you know, grabbing him like this. In front of Pedro Pascal is Grogu. So, and the caption says, "The Father of the Year goes to."
Yeah, seriously. I mean, this guy's putting his life on the line for everybody else's kid.
Yeah.
What did you think of, was it IG-11?
IG-88. Is it 11? All right. 88 was the one in Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah. Like, IG-11.
Like, again, that was one of those things where I'm like, was it really necessary for him to have to go back there and pick that droid up just to help on this mission? Like his boy said, like, we have tons of droids, we can find you one, I guarantee. But he wanted that one, and you know, specific one, and ends up almost killing Grogu as soon as he gets it on. Like this kind of, I think, goes back to what we were saying, where it's just, it kind of feels like he's just doing things just to do things, just to get himself into trouble. Like, he should have been at Mandalore already. Like, I don't know what the hell is taking him so long.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that part right there really annoyed the hell out of me. Like, he goes there just to get IG-11. And, you know, he's like, there's a way we can fix him. I know there's all this and there's all that. And Grief Karga was like, dude, I can give you another one.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I trust this one. I'm like, dude, it's a droid. Any droid, you can trust any droid if you just let them, you know, whatever.
Right.
But no, he was so adamant on getting this one that he even said, I'm going to find the part and I'll be back and these little guys will fix it. That part right there really annoyed the hell out of me. I mean, that's what I mean. I'm like, this episode was like, dude, are you serious? You have all these protocol droids that's there. Yeah, IG-11's a badass, but now you're going to try to fix him just because he saved, you know, it's like, dude, there's a statue in front of this whole area just for him because he's the reason why, you know, they saved that town. And here you are destroying that poor statue.
Yeah.
Because of your greed. You
know, I really, I hope this isn't like the show Lost, like, you know, a situation where it's just, they're just kind of going off the top of their head as they go. Like, it should have been over after the second season, but it was really popular. So it's like, let's stretch this out a bit.
Let's keep going.
That's kind of what it's starting to feel like when they just have all these random things of him doing this and doing that just to get him into some beef or something. And it's just kind of like, we have a whole season of this.
I mean, this is the reason why. I mean, you know, when we first started talking about The Mandalorian from season 1 to season 2, I was all into it. I was like, oh man, what are you talking about, Joe? You were saying the same thing about, like, you know, things drag. And I'm like, no, you're not looking at it that way. You're looking at it this way. And then something happened within the past, I don't know, 2-3 years where me watching Star Wars anything, even Disney Plus anything, it's just like, okay, this is the same thing that you guys are doing. It's just a different episode. I mean, if you watch episode 1 of season 3, it's exactly like episode 1 of season 2. You're trying to accomplish something. You're trying to find something. And it's kind of like, what else can you do?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking about Marvel the other day and Disney,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to feel the same thing with Marvel, where it's kind of like you're just pretty much trying to do what you did the last time, with the original characters and all that, where you're trying to kind of build up these separate movie franchises with each character, but they all kind of related to each other, and you see the bad guy who's going to be the one for that universe, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
For me anyway. I'm not as invested in these characters. I feel like some of them, they went digging into the Marvel, books and like, hey, who's this? All right, let's throw this person in there. Let's throw them in there. And if you don't do your research, or if you're not like a real comic book head, you probably don't know who they
know
are.
These guys are, yeah.
Like you didn't have to read comic books to know who the Incredible Hulk is or Iron Man. They were just that big.
Yeah.
These characters, it's more of like the kind of the heads that are into that stuff. And if the story isn't good and you're just, making stuff up again just to have them do things, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not invested like I was.
I think you hit the nail on the dot, or you hit the head on the nail when you said they're going to try to get as much money out of it as they can. And I think Marvel is doing the same thing. And Marvel, Disney, these are all related. So, with them getting rid of the original cast, your Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, those guys, this new era of Marvel characters is going to struggle. And, I just watched Ant-Man and Quantumania. When you watch it, we'll talk about it then. But, it's one of those things where it's like, I asked myself, where's Marvel going?
Yeah.
Where are they going? I mean, even with Star Wars, it's like, this is the first Star Wars thing we're getting in Disney Plus since Boba Fett. And I'm like, okay, this is cool, but where's this headed? Where's this going? Yeah. It's like, I was entertained, but I didn't end the episode wanting more. Usually the first season of Mandalorian, I was like, okay, what's next? I can't wait till next week. I would watch it at midnight in Tuesday midnight because I couldn't wait to watch it the next day. Yeah. This one, I was just kind of like, what's next? I mean, maybe it's just the first episode. Maybe, I could be like, nitpicking here, but I'm a fan. I got to nitpick. I got to be able to enjoy what I'm watching. And I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, how long has it been since the season 2 to now?
Let me go ahead. Keep talking. We'll look.
I'm pretty sure it's a long break. And, if you're going to take that long of a time where people kind of forget what was going on to begin with and have to go backtrack, and then if you're not just going to do something to blow our minds in the first episode or leave us on a cliffhanger or, give us something really worth coming back for, it's going to lead you to start kind of like, I'm not in a rush to watch this.
I think it's been 3 years. I'm looking at the IMDb page, and like a lot of these characters, they said there were one episode in 2020, and I don't see nothing in 21 or 22. So I think it's been 3 years since we've been waiting.
Look at that.
Yeah,
that's a long time to keep people interested in something.
Yeah. I mean, and in 3 years, a lot can happen. I mean, that's why when we talk about series like The Walking Dead, like how much longer can you stretch this out for?
Yeah. I stopped watching The Walking Dead in season 6 or halfway through when they would do that weird mid-year break or whatever the hell they would do. And I stopped for no reason. I just kind of, didn't watch a few episodes. And then I was like, well, at this point, I think I'll just wait for it to end and then I'll binge it. It feels like that's been like 10 years already. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, when are we, and the glimpses I see of that show are ridiculous.
Yeah.
The characters and whatever. So I just hope that's not going to be the situation with, Mandalorian and Boba Fett, where they just drag it out. And because Star Wars is already tough because it's not in chronological order as it is. Even the Mandalorian, I'm not sure where where it falls in the Star Wars universe timeline.
This happened. Mandalorian is after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, see,
So
and I mean,
we
when was the
haven't
last
even
time I watched
yeah.
Return of the Jedi? Like,
So you remember Luke? Luke is wearing the black suit, the black everything in Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So that happened after Return of the Jedi. So this happened after Return of the Jedi, before The Force Awakens. So this is that timeline that we're in right now.
yeah, and it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
This feels like something totally new, and that's what I wish they would just do already. Just start from now.
Yeah.
New. Forget about the timeline. Forget about trying to add, because the more you bounce back and forth, the more confusing it gets, and you don't really have, clear storylines as it is. It's always just kind of people just going by the seat of their pants in every Star Wars show or movie. So yeah, it's gonna get a little weird. I hope it ends strong. Like I said, it's only the first episode. We're nitpicking, but that's what happens when you make people wait 3 years for another episode.
I mean, if you waited 3 years for the biggest, most successful Star Wars episode to stream outside of the movies, you expect the first episode to be a banger episode. Yeah. And, I think they ruined it by, and Star Wars fans, you guys are all going to kill me for saying all this, but I think they ruined it within the first 5 minutes of the episode. I mean, you were saying the best part is when they were fighting that sea monster, and that was the best part. And then after that, okay, all right, now what? I mean, you had a shootout scene with the pirates, and then you had another shootout scene with the pirates in space. Those are like 3 things that we can say was the most exciting part. Of
it was a really short episode. When I went back to watch it the other 2 times, I realized, there wasn't much that happened. And even the scenes with the dialogue when he brings her that relic that someone found, and he's like, look, the caves of Mandalore might still be there, or whatever the hell it is that he has to go bathe himself in. But it wasn't like it was full of dialogue, like a Quentin Tarantino movie or something like that. It was really just kind of slow, dry, it really, really dragged on. And it's kind of like, it's hard to engage with the movie. Like, even at the end, like, if it wasn't because you explained it, I forgot who that girl was that he was asking for help with her people. Like,
Bo-Katan. Yeah.
And then again, that was another stop. I'm like, what is up with this guy? Go to fucking Mandalore. Why are you stopping at all these places?
Why do you need help? See, this
exactly.
is like,
you've been a badass this whole time.
I didn't know who Bo-Katan was because I didn't watch any of those animated series.
Okay.
I had 2 boys. I have 2 teenage boys. One's not a teenager, but I have 2 boys that had to explain to me who this character is. So when that episode came out and they're taking their helmets off, and then I'm like, okay, who is this? So between my boys, between me watching the spoilers on YouTube, I knew who she was. But I'm like, okay, now do I have to go back and watch? Because there's a whole storyline on how Bo-Katan was once the leader of Mandalore, because she had the Darksaber till she lost it to Moff Gideon. So there's all these things. And Moff Gideon, we see Moff Gideon with the Darksaber in Mandalorian. We're like, oh shit, how did he get it?
Yeah.
But if you didn't watch any of the Rebels, you don't know that he got it because he won it versus, Bo-Katan. And Bo-Katan, we see Bo-Katan trying to find Moff Gideon because she wants the Darksaber back.
Yeah. See,
I mean,
I don't have the energy for Star Wars.
I don't either. I mean, that's why I said, I'm like, okay, this first episode better be good. And it started off strong. And when I looked on Disney Plus, and it said 37 minutes runtime, and we know there's always going to be at least 4 or 5 minutes of credits at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 32 minutes of, movie scenes.
Yeah. Probably less because you have the recap.
You have the recap, yeah. So now you're looking at 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So you better give me something good in 30 minutes. And those little dialogues that like you mentioned, you got to figure out where to put that in and give me more action.
Yeah. See, and like what you just did now is like another issue. I know it sounds like we're just bashing Star Wars, but it's like whenever you speak to someone who knows about Star Wars or has any sort of like info or background on it, the backstories to whatever it is you're watching always sound way better than the actual movie. Like that's always been the issue. And I always get the same thing. Oh, you had to read the books, or you had to watch this series, or you had to watch this animated. Well, why not put all the cool stuff in a movie? Like it feels like you're giving us all the B-roll crap, and then we have to read about or hear about all the cool stuff that happens. And that's just so frustrating, man.
I mean, I kind of wish when in season 2, when Bo-Katan was trying to get the Darksaber back, I kind of wish they kind of did a flashback scene and how she got it and then how she lost it. So that way for people like me who didn't know who the hell she was can be like, oh, that's who she is, you know? And you can see the writing in The Last of Us versus the Mandalorians right now, or the Star Wars writers right now. The Last of Us is giving us exactly what we want. They're giving us the little flashbacks. They're giving us the little storylines. Yeah, HBO writers are probably a little bit better. They're a little bit more seasoned when it comes to writing. But all these guys are doing is they're just taking it off a video game. You know, they got everything there from a video game. And Star Wars Mandalorian, there's a comic book out there. So you guys are getting your scripts from a comic book. So go off that. And then, you know, don't tweak it to where you think, oh, I think if I put this scene in, it'll be a whole lot better.
Right.
Like, no, dude, it's not.
even with that, I mean, episode 3 of The Last of Us, I mean, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched it, isn't in the game. That was something that they made up on their own, and it's probably right now one of the best episodes. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who didn't freaking cry throughout the whole thing. Yeah. And so, you know, it can be done. It's just, I don't know. I saw
this. Sorry for going off topic here, but I saw this. There was a Comic-Con in Seattle this weekend that just passed, and one of my old coworkers went there, and they did the whole Star Wars theme for this Comic-Con. But he took a picture of these two guys, and they were Bill. Was it Bill and Frank? Is that who it was? Okay. It was both of them of The Last of Us. And they were just regular Bill and Frank. But then there was another group that was Bill and Frank, but they were zombies Bill and Frank.
Oh, nice.
I was like, and you know, if you watched it, you understood what it was. But yeah, I mean, these writers, I mean, you know what I'm afraid, and I'm gonna go really deep in this one and say these Star Wars writers are just happy to have a job with Disney and Star Wars, and they're not Star Wars fans. No. It's like, Jon Favreau probably has the say on what the final, script is going to look like or what's going to say. But do you really think he's reading through the whole thing?
I think it's that. And I think also it's Disney's influence, right? Like we all know the Disney machine and the power behind them. And anything that's under Disney production has to go through their filter. Yeah. And if it's not, what they consider family friendly, if it's not, up to their standards, then you got to change it. Yeah. And I think that might be part of why it's kind of where it is, because I don't think they're giving the creators 100% free reign to do whatever they want. Yeah. Because if they did, you'd have like what you had with Marvel before Disney took over and took the reins. Yeah. Because since they took over, you kind of see both franchises kind of doing the same thing. They're just making money off of it now. Yeah. And we're gonna nitpick and do this and that and give you a little bit at a time and just stretch it out and water it down. And that's when it's kind of like I think I'd just rather go ride a Disney ride than watch their shows.
You got to win an hour to get on the ride. If you're gonna watch get on a Disney
unless
ride.
You're willing to pay.
Unless you're willing to pay that lightning lane, which is like $17. But yeah, you're right. I mean, like even when they said they're gonna release Deadpool, a Marvel movie, and they said Deadpool might be the first rated R Marvel movie that they're releasing. I'm like, wait a minute. All the killing that happened, this is gonna be the first rated R? Oh, because he's swearing and there might be some blood. All right, well, what have we been watching this whole time then? That it's not rated R. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm hopeful this episode's going to do well. I'm hopeful that it's going to give us something that we want to see, moving forward. Again, first episode, 30 minutes probably total. And I just wasn't blown away like I usually am.
Yeah, and also the other thing too, I was a little disappointed in. I thought Grogu was gonna have more character development. I
Yeah,
thought we were gonna see him at some point. We know he's a Jedi and he studied to be a Jedi, but he chose to be with the
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian and all that. But I still felt like he's still whatever Yoda species
Yeah,
is, and we know that they're powerful. We know that they're really strong and have all these things they can do. So I was hoping that at some point we would just start to see some of that. I mean, because everything is surrounded around this kid, right?
yeah.
He's taking him here. He's doing all the stuff, and he did everything he could to get back to him. And it's like, all right, well, what's the reason? There has to be like now they're just buddies riding around through space and chilling and doing shit and killing people. Like, I mean, they should have put that into a cartoon, honestly, if they're going to do that. Hopefully they figure out a way
They might.
to rein this back in,
They might put in, they may give us Grogu the animated series or animated season.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just to me when I watched that first episode and I'm looking, okay, you're right. Grogu should be at least somewhat developed, somewhat. He's still acting like the little kid that he is. That the scene when he's just spinning around in the chair over and over again.
It's pretty funny, actually.
It's funny, but it's one of those things where like that's what a kid does if they're whatever office they're in, they're just spinning in a chair. Then he stops and then he gets himself a Skittle. I believe that's a Skittle or a Reese's.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was, but that's what kids do. For someone who's a powerful being like him. You'd think he'd be a little bit more like, and then that one scene where he's hugging the little machine guy.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we don't hug them. We don't hug them.
Yeah.
I mean,
all that stuff is great and it's cute, but yeah, I just hope, I don't know. I would like to see him, like it would be cool if we saw, maybe sometime down the line, a series where Grogu's older, maybe not as old as Yoda was, because he was like, what, 800 when he died?
Whatever he was, yeah.
To see him as an adult or a young adult and maybe as a warrior, and he's kind of has better control of his powers and what he could do. Like, I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff that they can put into a series, but they're probably just going to throw it into a book or an animated thing and then just say, oh no, you should have watched that because you would have saw how cool he was. Now you're just going to see him old.
Yeah. There's a lot of different things that they could do, and I don't know when they're going to do it. I don't know when they plan to do it. Are they going to do it like anytime soon? I know they're going to bring back a flashback scene of Order 66, and we're finally going to get to see who saved Grogu, like who's the one that saved him. Man, if they're saving this up, or if they're doing this episode 1 to be dull because they're going to bring back Samuel Jackson in here and he's the one that saved Grogu, hey, be my guest. Fine, give us this sucky ass episode, but give us something good in the middle. Bring us, give us Mace Windu back. I'd be more than happy to see that.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with something like that. I mean, like I said, I know we're kind of going hard on it right now, and it's just a beginning, but I think because it's so early, they have a lot of time to turn it around and surprise us and do something cool with it. And if they did something like you just said, that'd be amazing.
Shit.
And I think it all comes from a place of, we do like Star Wars, right? We are fans of the original movies. We grew up with them. It's been in popular culture since forever. So we're rooting for it. We want it to do well. And it's just, I think that's why we get so disappointed and angry when, you have such a good product with great potential and you have an amazing actor playing the role and, you did pretty good in the first 2 seasons, but then you make us wait 3 years and you give us some mid. That's the kind of reaction you're going to get. It's like, am I wasting my time? Because believe me, I have a lot of shows that I need to finish.
Yeah.
You Better Call Saul's on there too. Like it's just, there's a lot of stuff I need to finish. And if you guys aren't going to be entertaining me, then I can just, put that energy somewhere else.
I mean, for you guys who are listening and for you guys who watches us, Joe and I talked about we were gonna do The Last of Us. This was supposed to be a Last of Us episode, but then I texted Joe and I said, "Hey, look, there's 2 more episodes before before the season's over. Why don't we just wait till these last 2 episodes?" So the second to the last episode, depending on when you listen to this or watch this, is coming out tonight, and then the final episodes next week. So I told Joe, let's just hold off till these last 2 episodes, then we can talk about The Last of Us, the last 2 episodes, and then talk about the series moving forward. Then Mandalorian came out, so I said, hey, let's talk about Mandalorian, give a little break of The Last of Us. But I expected a little bit more from the Mandalorian. It's like if you listen to the podcast we had before or watch the videos that we talked about the Mandalorian, I was no, Mandalorian can never do wrong. No, this is a cool episode. But now I'm just like, I literally turned off the TV and I did the whole, what the fuck did I just watch? I mean, it ended the scene with him going to Bo-Katan and him walking away. And I'm like, that's it?
Yeah.
What the heck? And the thing I hate about Disney Plus is they don't give us a recap of what's going on next week. Not like HBO where they show us a little teaser of what's going to happen next week. This one is just like he walks away and then it goes straight to the credits. I'm like, all right, what am I going to wait for next week? What am I supposed to watch next week?
Yeah, it's funny. The first time around, I was dozing off. I was going in and out. And every time I would wake up, I was like at another scene. And I'm like, shit. All right, I got to
go back a little bit. Yeah.
And then I was like, damn it. All right. I finished it and I was like, that was too quick. Let me go back and watch it again. And I literally watched it right after, like back to back, and rewound it, watched it from the beginning, and realized I didn't miss much, if anything.
Yeah.
It's just, that's how quick it is. It jumps. There's maybe four scenes or something, not scenes, but, settings, 4 or 5 settings throughout the whole thing. And then the space fight, and that's about it, and it gives you this kind of like, it adds to the feeling of it dragging.
Yeah.
It feels like it's one really long day.
Yeah. And that's probably what it was. I mean, he started off, trying to let the armorer know that I'm going to go to Mandalore and get my whatever back. And then from there, he goes to, Carl Weathers' is a town. I keep calling him Carl Weather.
Navarro.
Yeah, Navarro. He goes to his town, and half of the scenes or half the episode was pretty much based there. Like from the fight scene to the pirate scene to fixing the robot. That's pretty much where it was the whole time. Because then after that, it was like a little space scene, and then he's now seeing Bo-Katan, and it's over.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It's probably just 4 scenes or 4 areas that he was in, and it's one of those like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Give me something a little bit longer. I mean, this is where Boba Fett, a lot of people didn't like Boba Fett because they were giving flashback scenes, but I think the flashback scenes helped a little bit.
Yeah.
And like I said, with the whole Bo-Katan thing, unless you're a Star Wars nerd, you don't know who she is. And like you said earlier, you didn't know who she was. You forgot she was even there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I went back later and saw, or I think in one of the recaps, it showed her earlier in the season, and I was just like, oh, I really don't even remember. And I wasn't about to go back and find out who she was. But yeah, it's just, and it's hard to keep up with some of these characters when it's such a long gap in between.
Yeah, I mean, God, I didn't realize till you asked. 3 years. 3 years. So Boba Fett probably came out in 2021.
Probably,
around
filled that gap. Yeah.
And then we did have those 2 episodes of The Mandalorian in there. So, so we're still looking at 2 years regardless. It's still that long gap of us, give me more kind of thing, and it's like, I'm hoping this next episode will be good. I'm trying to see if they have a title for it yet. I'm going to keep looking. You can keep talking.
Yeah. Moving forward, I was trying to think, what could they do to turn it around? What I like to see.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I would like to see, Grogu get a little more developed, and we kind of see him kind of come into his own. But is there anything, like that you kind of hope you were going to see, or that they could possibly do to, I don't know, make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
at this point,
I pretty much just said, like if they give us someone like Samuel Jackson and bring him back as Mace Windu, then maybe that's the savior. Because we're all wondering where he is. A lot of people's wondering where he is, and supposedly he's dead. Supposedly, but even the comic books are saying like, no, he survived. He's just somewhere. It's like every black character we see in the Star Wars universe that's somewhat force sensitive. We always say that's Mace Windu's son. That's Mace Windu's grandson. We always think that. So if they bring him back, like in that flashback scene where Grogu is like seeing the Order 66, maybe we see, a decapitated Mace Windu, because he did get his arm cut off.
Yeah,
he got his arm cut off. So maybe we see that Mace Windu coming back, crawling, trying to save, Grogu. And even if they show us like a nice death, like they show us like, okay, Mace Windu is the one that saved Grogu. He gave him to someone else, but then here comes Anakin and kills him off. So at least we know, finally, we know he's dead.
Right.
Instead of us wondering, where is he? Where is he?
No, I mean, I think that would be cool to see some sort of connection with the movies, maybe seeing like an Anakin or the bigger stars that we're familiar with, just to make it at least feel like it's in the same universe, because it doesn't right now. It just feels like it's its own thing. It's its own timeline. And so if they would find a way to maybe connect it better to the whole Star Wars franchise, maybe that would be better. Maybe that's how they could save it. But otherwise, I feel like it's just going to be a collection of random stories and episodes, kind of like a comic book where, it doesn't necessarily need to tie into the one before or anything else. And that's what I hate. That's when I lose interest.
I mean, I'm almost afraid to just say, I'm going to skip every other episode and just kind of like binge watch 2 episodes at a time, just because I got disappointed with this first one. But at the same time, with social media and even just opening little things like YouTube, it's like the spoiler alert is just all there. And it's like, I can't do that. And, I'm watching it because it's entertaining, but at the same time, I don't want to be spoiled. It's like you and I, we've been pretty good on like not giving each other spoilers, or even like giving us a hint of how we feel about a show, versus like other people who are like, oh, dude, did you watch it? Oh my God, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. Like, dude, I don't even want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Like Quantumania, I didn't watch it opening day like I always do. So when people started saying, oh my God, you got to watch Quantumania, you got to watch it, I'm like, yeah, I will. Just shut up about it. I will watch it. Just don't say anything. That's why it's like, I feel like I got to watch it right away, because you're going to have that one person that's going to try to spoil it for you. Yeah.
Sometimes I like I'm not into something, or I know nothing about it, just in the hopes that people won't talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Because there's this thing when you tell someone, don't tell me I haven't watched, that they just, but let me just tell you this one thing. And it's the one thing that ruins it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, please.
Yeah. I mean,
so it is kind of hard to wait to binge watch something that comes out.
Or I mean, I don't even want to hear like, dude, you got to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't even want to hear that. And with me and trying to keep my mouth shut, and with me and my coworker, we're kind of like me and you, how we are, and we talk about stuff. I always just say, did you watch it? And he'll say no. And then right away it's like, just got to shut my mouth.
Yeah.
But I think in the one episode where they finally showed the bloater in The Last of Us, I said, did you watch it? He's like, no. I kind of did the like, dude, you got to watch it. And I kind of like caught myself. And I was like, and I did the whole, you got to watch it. But you got to tell me what you think also.
Yeah.
Because, that it was one of those things where it's like, it was a good episode, but I was excited to tell you, but, okay, let me close my mouth real quick.
Yeah. Like some people don't get even something like that. Like, oh, you got to watch it, or wait till you see the first scene. Like, let me experience it the same way you did. Let me be surprised at the beginning. Let me, have
be the
same
judge.
Experience.
Let me be the judge on what I think it should be,
I like to go into things blind sometimes and just not know what I'm expecting, with no judgments, no prejudgments, and just kind of experience it how the creators intended for us to experience it, and then go from there. So, for you, spoilers people out there,
There's a
have a little
lot of you
consideration for
guys.
your friends and family. Just,
There's a
wait
lot
till
of you
they see
guys.
it.
There's a lot.
Like, serious.
No, but man, yeah, I mean, this episode, this season, I'm expecting a lot. And, it says season 3, episode 1, chapter 17 of Mandalorian. That's what the name is, or that's what the episode that we're in. It's like, okay, give us something.
Yeah.
Give me something. And for you Disney fans, Star Wars writers, if you didn't put in a Samuel Jackson or a Mace Windu, and I just said this in your ear, you better give me credit for it.
Yeah.
You better give me credit for it.
Yeah. Get your publishing for that.
Hollywood doesn't work that way, Joe. Hollywood doesn't work that way.
I know.
I found that out the hard way. That should be talked about on another podcast.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a few episodes of how how that works. How the business works.
No, but it's good. I mean, all in all, it's a Star Wars franchise. You're still gonna have your Star Wars nerds that's gonna love this episode. They're gonna be like, dude, you can have those guys that it can't go wrong. And the sucky thing about me getting into this whole acting thing and this whole acting bug and seeing how scenes are done behind scenes and stuff like that, seeing how scenes are being made, I become a little bit more critical on how things are made. And I hate that about me right now. So when I watched this episode and then the scene when they show the pirates, and I love how in the beginning when he's walking there, you see how elegant everyone looks. Even Carl Weathers' character, he has 2 robots that's holding his cape. It's like
that go clunking down the steps, which I thought was hilarious.
You're a little overdoing it there, brother. But that's what you want to do. That's fine. But then you see these pirates, and they're they're not badly dressed, but they don't fit the environment. So it kind of gives you that whole, this is a bad guy.
Yeah.
So it kind of made me think like, all right, this is how Hollywood is. They want us to see the elegance in this community, but they also want to be able to, pinpoint or point out, these are bad guys. Yeah. These are the guys that we don't want to be friends with.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing when you're part of the process of something, then now you can kind of see it with different eyes.
Yeah.
It's the same with me for music. When I hear certain things that I'm like, man, that's amazing. And other people might not get it. I'm like, you don't know how hard it is what that person just did.
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but
yeah.
And it's the same thing with movies. Once that the veil is lifted and you see what actually makes movie magic, then you're kind of like, well, wait a minute.
Wait
a minute. I know what you did there. You could have did that better.
You did not. I mean, it's cool because I know what they're doing and I see how they do it, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of a curse because I'm like, oh man, really?
Yeah,
you're gonna cheap out and do this and do that, and it's like, but that's what it is, and I'm pretty sure that's why when you hear actors and they say, hey, did you even watch your shows? Like, no, I didn't even watch it yet, because they did it. They did the hours of labor that they did.
Yeah.
Why do they want to watch it?
Yeah.
Why do I want to sit here and watch it? Like Leonardo DiCaprio, from this day on, he said he hasn't sat the whole 3 hours and watched Titanic.
Wow.
He's seen clips here and there, but he hasn't sat the whole time and watched the whole thing because he said, I shot that movie for how many ever months that they shot it, that he doesn't want to sit there for the next 3 hours and watch it.
Yeah. You think about it. I mean, he was there. He was there for all the however long it takes to film that, and then probably was at the premiere. You watched it then.
Yeah.
How many more times do I have to watch the movie?
He wasn't even at the premiere. That's what someone asked him. Like, didn't you watch it at the premiere? He said, I was at the premiere for the red carpet. I sat down in my seat, and after the scene of when we got on the ship, I left. So he hasn't watched the whole movie yet.
That's crazy.
Which to me, it's kind of like, this is the number 1 grossing film ever, and you haven't watched it, the whole thing. But that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel him.
I
feel him.
if I sat, I mean, I don't know. I'm different. I'd probably want to watch everything that I did so I can sit here and be like, all right, you messed up on this part right here. All right, you got to smile a little bit more. I'd critique myself.
Yeah.
But that's Leonardo for you, man.
Yeah.
So
that's, for some people that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Maybe he still looks at himself and cringes when he sees himself on screen, like some people, when they hear their voice the first time on record, and it's like, oh God, that's what I sound like.
Was that me? Jesus Christ, I sound like a dork. Boy, why do I look like that? No, I mean, yeah, you see, like, I didn't realize, like, when I look at my face, this eye right here gets a little crazy, it gets a little different. You guys, like, when I take selfies or I take, headshots, I'm like, what's wrong with his eye? Why is this eye looking over here and this one's looking over there? What the hell's wrong with his eye? I didn't realize that, now that's I'm like
I'm the same. I always feel like my eyes are open, but then I look back at videos and I'm like this, like I'm asleep. I'm like, Jesus,
stoner.
Open your eyes, dude.
His eyes aren't a thing. He's just, he does the whole
smoke weed every day.
Yeah, that too. My eyes are permanently low.
It's like puff, puff, give, Joe. Puff, puff, give.
My eyelids get heavy.
Joe just happens to take a picture right after he takes the little hit, and he's like, "What'd you say?" He's smiling. But man, so I'm hoping moving forward, this is going to be something better moving forward. I mean, I told you what I think they should do. What do you feel they should do better to make this, or to save the rest of this season?
Mm-hmm. Again, I think kind of what we were saying, if they tie it into the rest of the Star Wars universe, maybe introduce some other characters that we're familiar with, that we love from the universe, especially from whatever the time period that it's supposed to be in within the series. I feel like that would help.
Yeah.
Give him purpose.
Yeah.
Give the Mandalorian purpose. Don't just make it be about him trying to become a Mandalorian. Maybe he discovers something about the Mandalorians that he doesn't like. Maybe there's some secret evil shit behind them, and he realizes, you know what? I don't want to be a Mandalorian anymore, and maybe he goes rogue. I don't know. Something. It's like, make it interesting and make it worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because what you just mentioned is pretty much what is in the Rebels. What's in the Rebels stuff.
There you go.
So yeah. He's gonna find some secrets that he's not gonna like later on, and
okay.
The whole Bo-Katan thing. You're such in your evil ways. That whole thing that your whole belief is gone. I think we're gonna find out either in this season or next season that he's gonna realize that Bo-Katan is right. Yeah. That the old ways is kind of gone. That the new ways, right. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
Or make him have to choose between the Mandalorians and Grogu and see what he does.
Yeah.
When he's faced with the same situation.
Remember, Grief Karga says, "I have a place for you here. You can sit right there in the Outer Rim and just relax and just be my sheriff."
Chill. Yep.
Just chill.
Your kid.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping they bring back someone like Boba Fett. Maybe Fennec Shan. It's going to be, these episodes. I mean, he's definitely going to need some help later on. I know for sure Ahsoka Tano might be in this episode or this season, just to get her set up for her Ahsoka Tano series. Maybe even bringing back Luke. Just, hey, I need help with Grogu. He's not responding to anything that I want him to do. Maybe something like that. I mean, and then, like I said, give us Mace Windu. I'd be happy if you give us Mace Windu, even if you show us how he died. To me, that'd be perfect. Because I'm a big fan of Mace Windu. He's the only guy with a purple lightsaber. Yep. So be nice to see him there. But until then, it's nothing we can do.
Yeah, just hold on and enjoy the ride, whatever they give us.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because in Disneyland, there's supposed to be a Boba Fett and Mandalorian walking around, and Mandalorian is holding Grogu with him. It's mechanical Grogu. It's interactive, But of course, when we went there, Mandalorian was nowhere to be seen, and Boba Fett was nowhere to be seen because it was cold and it was raining one of the days. So that's no reason for you to go out there. So
yeah,
gives me another reason why to go back.
Yeah, man, go for it.
So
you should start vlogging it.
Nah,
it's a lot of work.
Vlogging days to me are. I mean, I'll take short clips here and there, but the whole like putting the camera in front of my face and I'm sorry to all the guys who are following me, but I'm kind of over the whole vlogging thing. I'll do it every now and then, but this is what I like doing. I like getting behind a mic and I like talking on a podcast. That's to me, it's a lot easier to do.
Yeah,
I'm nice and
totally
warm
agree.
in here, so.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, man, that was fun. That was a cool thing. We'll definitely be back not next week, but probably finish off The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
I think if we're gonna do Mandalorian again, I think we should wait every other episode, just in case the next one sucks even worse than this one.
Yeah, especially with the episodes being so short.
I mean,
give us a little more.
We'll finish The Last of Us when its season ends, and we'll let you guys know what we'll be talking about. We need to be a little bit more active on the page. I know I'm not as active as we are. Maybe I'll be a little bit more active on the Instagram page.
Yeah,
maybe I'll throw something out there like, what do you guys want us to talk about? What movies or what something? Keep it, kind of sort of PG-13 rated. If there's anything you want to talk about,
we'll start polling you all and getting some ideas of what you want to hear.
We don't do politics. We don't do mass shootings. We don't talk about anything like that. So anything, movie related, we'll talk about maybe topics that's here and there just because we've done that before. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know. Follow us on The Ordinary Joe's Podcast on Instagram, The Ordinary Joe's Podcast on YouTube, and you can email us at theordinaryjoespodcast@gmail.com if you have thoughts or anything like that. You can go ahead and follow Joe on his Instagram page, his music page.
Joey Nomad on YouTube and Instagram. Sorry, I forgot what my name was.
There's a song out here. There's a song out. Let me give me 1 minute. Well, let me pull this up real quick, just because Joe reminded me of this song the other day. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up on my Apple Music, and I'm only gonna play a clip of it because I don't want us to get busted on how they are when it comes to you can't play this on here.
YouTube overlords.
YouTube does everything. There's a song called Venture Highway. There's a song called Venture Highway, and it's an old song by. Hold on, I'm pulling it up and I'm trying to set it on my Roadcaster so you guys can hear it. But it's called Venture Highway song. It's by America.
And I made you think of this song?
No. There's a part of this song that made me think of Joe, because if you guys don't know, Joe was telling Joe was changing his name, and he went from what was the name you had first?
Beats.
Huge Beats, and then me and Joe. I was giving Joe all these names that I think he should give. He was like, "No, Joe, you should use this name." Joe was like, "No, I'm not going to use that." So I was listening to this song the other day, and I said, "This is definitely Joe." But here, let me go ahead and pull this up right here. And I'll go from here.
Wishing on a falling star, waiting for the early train.
Right after this line.
Sorry boy, but I've been hit by purple rain. Oh, come on, Joe, you can always change your name.
That part right there.
Hilarious.
It's like, come on, Joe, you can always change your name. But yeah, I was like, Joe, you can change your name.
Yeah. I had to do the name change. There was someone out there who already had the same name and was somewhat established. So I just didn't, not that I couldn't have used the same name, but I was already starting to see some
Feedback.
Confusion on Spotify and Apple, things like that. So I said, you know what? It's early enough. Let me just go back and pull it down, re-release it under a new name. So That'll be back out. Well, it's available right now. My album is available right now on Bandcamp. You can just go to the link in my bio on Instagram. You can listen to it now. And then March 15th, it'll be on all platforms,
Nice.
Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, all that stuff.
Nice.
So.
You know, why don't we talk about that in the next podcast? Let's talk about, you know, your struggle on how you had it all set up, and you were telling me like, oh man, I gotta make sure this beat is this and this beat is that. So that's something like maybe the listeners would like to hear. Like, it's not as easy as you think. Like, let me make this beat and let me publish it, but then there's all these little hiccups that comes in your way, like the whole name thing. I mean, like, I never heard the huge beats before, never. And then here you are telling me that I can't use this name because there's huge this and huge that, and people are getting confused. So maybe that's something we can take a break from movie reviews, and, you know,
totally.
And then, like, if Joe wants, we can play some of his, you know, play snippets of his beats here on the show.
Totally.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds like something fun we could do. Something different.
All right, guys. That sounds something like I like doing that. I like listening to Joe stuff, and, you know, when I'm walking to work or when I'm answering phones at work, I just play Joe's little thing in the background, and people's like, hey, who is this? And I just send them the link. Here it is.
Thank you, man.
Go listen to his stuff.
Yeah.
But until next time, we will come back with a little bit more. Maybe we'll do the whole Joe music thing and go from there. But until next time, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. We are the Ordinary Joes.
Peace.
See ya.
You're listening to the Ordinary Joe's podcast.